The stars looked the same as always from Earth that night. People went about their lives unaware that beyond those twinkling lights, danger was coming. High above the blue planet, something large moved through the darkness of space. Commander Rex stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Claw. His scaled skin reflected the blue glow of control panels as he stared at the viewscreen. Earth turned slowly before him, small and blue. Rex had conquered 12 planets before this one. Each victory had been quick and total. This would be no different. "Status report," Rex demanded, his voice deep and rough. Officer Krell moved his clawed fingers across the control panel. "All 300 ships are in position, Commander. Weapons at full power. Earth has detected our presence. Their primitive satellites are tracking us now." Rex smiled, showing sharp teeth. "And their defenses? Minimal. They have no space fleet, only small rockets and satellites. Their weapons cannot reach us here." "Perfect." Rex turned to face his crew of 20 Draconians. Their race was feared across the galaxy. Tall, strong, with tough scaled skin and advanced technology, they had never lost a war. "Send the message. Let them know who now owns their world." On Earth, panic spread like fire. The message from the alien ships appeared on every screen, in every language. "People of Earth, we are the Draconian Empire. Your planet is now ours. Surrender now, and some of you may live to serve us. Resist, and all will die. You have 6 hours to decide." In every major city, people ran through streets in fear. Some tried to leave the cities. Others hid in their homes. Governments called emergency meetings. Military leaders prepared whatever weapons they had, knowing it would not be enough. But in a small house on a mountain far from any city, one man watched the news with different eyes. Jack Wilson had once been a top military strategist before. He chose to live alone, away from people. Now, as he watched the alien message replay on his old television, something caught his attention. "That's odd," he muttered to himself, reaching for a notepad. He began writing notes, analyzing the aliens' words and the patterns in their message. Something wasn't right. The timing of their words, the patterns in their speech. It reminded him of something he had studied years ago. Jack worked through the night, filling pages with notes. As dawn broke, his phone rang, something that almost never happened. "Jack Wilson," he answered, voice rough from lack of sleep. "Mr. Wilson, this is General Adams. I need your help. The world needs your help." Jack sighed. "I left that life behind. General, the President asked for you personally. You're the best strategic mind we have." Jack looked at his notes about the alien message. "I was already working on it. There's something about their communication that's familiar. I need access to the full message data. You'll have everything. A helicopter will pick you up in 30 minutes. 3 hours later, Jack stood in the underground command center beneath the White House. Screens covered the walls, showing the massive alien ships hovering above major cities worldwide. Military leaders and government officials argued loudly about whether to fight or surrender. "Fighting is suicide," one general shouted. "Their ships are too advanced. We cannot just give up our planet," another replied. President Reeves, a tall woman with tired eyes, noticed Jack. "Everyone quiet. Mr. Wilson is here." The room fell silent as all eyes turned to Jack. He felt uncomfortable with the attention, but walked to the main screen. "Show me all communications from the aliens unfiltered," he said to the technician. As data filled the screens, a woman stepped forward. She had dark, curly hair and intelligent eyes behind simple glasses. "I've been analyzing that too," she said. "Dr. Eliza Reeves, astrophysics. Any relation to the president?" Jack asked. "My sister?" Eliza replied simply. "Look at these patterns in their transmission." Together, they studied the data while everyone watched. After 20 minutes of quiet work, Jack looked up. "Their technology has a flaw," he said, pointing to specific patterns. "Their communications show signs of quantum instability when passing through Earth's magnetic field. And look here, 3 of their smaller ships disappeared from our tracking for 8 seconds. Yesterday," Eliza nodded, I detected unusual energy readings at these locations. She pulled up a map showing points around the world. These are all sites of ancient monuments: Stonehenge, the pyramids, Easter Island, and others. Something about these places creates energy fields that might be affecting their ships. President Reeves stepped forward. What does this mean? Can we use it? Jack looked at the countdown timer on the wall. 3 hours remained before the aliens' deadline. Maybe, he said. But we need to. His words were cut off by alarms blaring through the command center. A young officer shouted from his station. Madam, President, one of their ships just vanished over Egypt. Everyone rushed to see the screens. Where a massive alien ship had been hovering over the Great Pyramid, there was now nothing. No explosion, no debris. It had simply disappeared. What happened? The president demanded. No one had an answer. But as they watched, a second ship flickered, like a bad television signal over Stonehenge, then disappeared completely. Commander Rex roared in anger as reports came in. What do you mean, vanished? Ships do not just vanish. Krell looked terrified. Sir, we've lost contact with 14 ships. They're gone. Impossible. Send search teams. They must be somewhere. Sir, another officer called out, the humans have not responded to our demand. The deadline is in 3 hours. Rex slammed his fist on the control panel. Then we attack now. Prepare all weapons. Target their major cities first. On Earth, Jack and Eliza worked frantically to understand what was happening. More alien ships were disappearing, always near the ancient sites Eliza had identified. It's not a coincidence, Jack said as they examined data. These sites were built on natural power points of the Earth. Something about the combination of Earth's magnetic field in these locations creates a natural defense system. A defense against technology that won't exist for thousands of years? Eliza asked skeptically. Jack shrugged. Maybe our ancestors knew something we've forgotten. Before they could discuss further, the command center erupted in chaos again. They're attacking. Draconian ships are moving into position above major cities. President Reeves turned to Jack and Eliza. Whatever you've discovered, we need to use it now. As the Draconian Armada prepared to rain destruction on Earth, humanity's accidental defense was just beginning to reveal itself. The sky above Earth burned with fire as the Draconian ships began their attack. Brilliant beams of energy cut through clouds, heading toward major cities below. But something strange happened. Many beams seemed to bend away from their targets, at the last moment disappearing into thin air. Commander Rex watched in growing horror as his attack faltered. On the main screen of his flagship, he could see that 30 more ships had vanished completely. What is happening? He roared, slamming his scaled fist against his command chair. This is impossible. Officer Krell worked frantically at his station. Sir, we're detecting unusual energy patterns across the planet. They seem to be absorbing our weapons fire. A defense system? Intelligence said they had no advanced technology. It doesn't appear to be artificial, Commander. The energy signatures matched nothing in our database. In the command center beneath the White House, Jack and Eliza watched as the alien attack weakened. Display screens showed more Draconian ships flickering and disappearing. We need to understand exactly what's happening, Jack said, running his hand through his gray hair. If this is our planet's natural defense, we need to know how to control it. President Reeves approached them. The attacks are weakening, but they're still targeting populated areas. We need to strengthen whatever is causing these ships to vanish. Eliza studied the map of energy readings. The effect is strongest at these ancient sites, but it's spreading. It's almost like the planet is waking up. We need to go to one of these sites, Jack decided. See it firsthand. Within an hour, a military helicopter carried Jack and Eliza toward Stonehenge. As they flew, reports came in from around the world. More Draconian ships vanishing, ground troops disappearing when they tried to land. The helicopter pilot pointed ahead. Look at that. Above Stonehenge, a Draconian ship hovered, surrounded by a strange shimmer in the air. As they watched, the ship seemed to stretch and distort, like an image in a funhouse mirror. Then, with a flash of blue light, It vanished. Land. As close as you can, Jack ordered. Standing among the ancient stones minutes later, Jack and Eliza felt a strange vibration in the air. Their equipment readings were off the charts. These energy patterns, Eliza said, studying her tablet. They're similar to theoretical models of interdimensional physics. In simple terms, Jack asked, the ships aren't being destroyed. They're being shifted somewhere else. Another dimension or reality. Jack touched one of the massive stones, feeling it hum with energy. Why now? These stones have stood for thousands of years. Eliza's eyes widened with realization. The Draconian technology. Their quantum drives must be triggering something in Earth's natural energy field. Our planet has always had this defense. It just needed the right catalyst to activate it. Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of approaching spacecraft. 3 smaller Draconian vessels descended toward Stonehenge, weapons glowing. They're targeting the stones. Jack pulled Eliza behind a large rock for cover. The alien ships fired, but their energy beams seemed to curve around the stones, feeding into the growing blue glow between them. The ground shook. The air crackled with electricity. The attack is making it stronger, Eliza whispered in amazement. The center space between the stones filled with swirling blue light. The Draconian ships tried to retreat, but an invisible force pulled them toward the vortex. One by one they stretched, distorted, and vanished into the light. Back on his flagship, Commander Rex watched in disbelief as his invasion force dwindled. Nearly half his fleet was gone now, with more vanishing every minute. Retreat, he finally ordered. All ships, pull back beyond this planet's orbit. Sir, Krell replied, voice shaking. Many ships report their engines are not responding. The energy field is affecting all our systems. Rex felt cold fear for the first time in his long military career. Send a message to the Emperor. Tell him. He paused, searching for words that wouldn't sound like madness. Tell him Earth has defenses we cannot understand. The planet itself fights against us. As the remaining Draconian ships struggled to escape Earth's pull, humans around the world watched in wonder and confusion. News reports showed alien vessels disappearing in flashes of blue light. Military forces remained on high alert, but it was becoming clear that Earth's mysterious defense was working. In the Pentagon's main situation room, Jack and Eliza reported their findings to military leaders from around the world. Maps and diagrams, covered screens showing energy patterns spreading across the planet. The ancient sites appear to be focal points, Eliza explained. They create a network that's now active across the entire planet. It's as if Earth has an immune system that's been triggered by the invasion. But where are the aliens going? Asked a general. Jack pointed to complex equations on another screen. Dr. Reeves believes they're being shifted into a parallel dimension. Not destroyed, just moved somewhere else. Can they come back? Someone asked. Unknown, Eliza admitted. But the energy field is still growing stronger. If they try to return, they'll likely face the same result. Outside the Pentagon, a crowd had gathered to watch the sky. The remaining Draconian ships were visible as distant points of light, some flickering and vanishing as they tried to escape. People pointed and cheered each time a ship disappeared. 72 hours after the invasion began, only 20 Draconian ships remained, retreating toward the edge of the solar system. Commander Rex watched Earth grow smaller on his view screen, fury and fear battling within him. This is not over, he hissed. We will return with new weapons, new strategies. Officer Krell looked doubtful. Sir, the Emperor will want answers. How do we explain losing nearly 300 ships to a primitive world? Before Rex could answer, alarms blared across the bridge. The ship shuddered violently. The energy field, a crew member shouted. It's expanding beyond the planet. Rex watched in horror as the blue energy reached toward his retreating fleet like ghostly fingers. Maximum speed, get us out of this system. But it was too late. The energy surrounded his flagship, systems failed, and the great Commander Rex felt his ship begin to stretch and distort just before everything went white. On Earth, Scientists tracked the last of the Draconian fleet as it vanished at the edge of the solar system. Celebrations broke out worldwide as news spread that the invasion was over. But Jack Wilson didn't celebrate. Standing at the window of the Pentagon, looking up at the stars, he knew this was just the beginning. "They'll be back," he said quietly to Eliza as she joined him. "And next time they'll bring the entire Draconian Empire." 2 weeks after the Draconian fleet vanished, Earth was still buzzing with excitement and fear. People looked to the skies differently now, knowing they were not alone in the universe. Governments worked together in ways they never had before, sharing information and resources. Jack Wilson had not slept much, working with Dr. Eliza Reeves and scientists from around the world. He spent his days analyzing data from the invasion. The mystery of Earth's defense system grew deeper with each discovery. "The energy readings are still active," Eliza said, pointing to her computer screen in their new lab beneath Stonehenge. "Lower than during the attack, but definitely still there." Jack nodded, studying the patterns. "It's like an immune system that's still alert after fighting off an infection." Their work was interrupted by a loud siren. A young soldier burst into the lab. "Sir, ma'am, more ships approaching from beyond Mars." Jack and Eliza rushed to the main control room where a large screen showed several objects moving toward Earth. "Draconian reinforcements?" Jack asked. The soldier shook his head. "Different shapes, smaller, and they're sending a message." On the screen, words appeared in many Earth languages. "Attention, Earth. We are representatives of the Galactic Council. We come in peace. We wish to understand what happened to the Draconian invasion fleet." President Reeves was called immediately. Within hours, she had assembled a team to respond to the alien message. Jack and Eliza were key members. "We tell them the truth," the president decided. "We don't know exactly what happened, but we're studying it. We invite them to land peacefully and discuss." 3 days later, 5 ships from different alien civilizations landed on a flat plain near Stonehenge. The site was chosen because of its importance to the vanishing phenomenon. Jack stood beside President Reeves as the first aliens emerged from their ships. They were nothing like the reptilian Draconians. The leader was tall and humanoid, but with blue skin and 4 arms. He approached with his hands empty, showing peace. "I am Captain Thorne of the Galactic Council," he said in perfect English. "We have observed your world for centuries but never interfered. You were considered a primitive species not ready for contact." President Reeves stepped forward. "Yet the Draconians had no problem attacking us." Captain Thorne nodded. "The Draconian Empire does not follow Council rules. They conquer any planet they wish, or they did until now." He looked around at Stonehenge. 300 warships gone. The greatest military force in the known galaxy, defeated by a species that hasn't even visited its own moon yet. "We've been to the moon," Jack corrected. Thorne smiled slightly. "My apologies. The point remains. This is unprecedented. The entire galaxy is talking about Earth now, some with fear, some with hope." In the days that followed, scientists from Earth worked with the alien visitors. They shared information, tested theories, and studied the energy fields around the ancient sites. Captain Thorne was often seen working directly with Jack and Eliza. At first, the alien was cold and professional, clearly doubting humans could help. But as their work progressed, his attitude changed. "Your species sees patterns we miss," he admitted one night as they worked late in the lab. "You think differently." Eliza looked up from her equations. "How so?" "Most advanced species develop similar thought patterns," Thorne explained. "We follow logical paths, mathematical certainties, but humans," he gestured to Jack's notebooks filled with drawings and seemingly random connections. "You make leaps no logical species would attempt." Jack smiled. "We call it intuition." On the 10th day of their collaboration, a breakthrough came. They were studying blood samples from humans and comparing them to alien biology. "Look at this," Eliza said suddenly, pointing to her microscope. "Human cells react to the energy field. They actually seem to resonate with it." Further tests confirmed her discovery. Something in human DNA was uniquely attuned to the dimensional energies that had caused the Draconian ships to vanish. "This explains everything," Thorne said, his voice filled with wonder. "Humans don't just detect the energy field. You're part of it. Your ancestors built these monuments to amplify what was already inside you." "Are you saying humans naturally perceive multiple dimensions?" Jack asked. Thorne nodded slowly. "Not consciously. But yes, your species has evolved with an awareness of dimensional space that most species lack. The Draconians weren't destroyed. They were shifted to a parallel dimension, one that humans can naturally sense." News of this discovery spread quickly among the alien visitors. More ships arrived daily, representatives from dozens of civilizations coming to witness the phenomenon themselves. Earth suddenly found itself at the center of galactic attention. Species that had ignored humanity now wanted alliances. Trade, offers poured in. Cultural exchanges began. Not all the attention was friendly. Some alien representatives clearly feared what Earth's natural abilities might mean for the balance of power in the galaxy. "They're afraid of us," Jack said to Eliza as they watched a group of insect-like aliens examining Stonehenge from a distance. "We went from unknown to threat overnight." "With good reason," Captain Thorne said, joining them. "You've accidentally discovered the most powerful defense system in the known galaxy. Many would kill for such technology." "It's not technology," Eliza pointed out. "It's just us." Thorne nodded. "Which makes it more valuable. Technology can be stolen. But this?" He gestured to the ancient stones. "This is bound to your planet, your species." Their conversation was interrupted by an alarm from Thorne's ship. The alien captain rushed inside, followed by Jack and Eliza. On Thorne's view screen, a massive fleet appeared, moving toward Earth. The ships were black, sleek, and clearly built for war. "The Shadow Fleet," Thorne whispered, his blue face turning pale. "The Draconian Emperor's personal armada." Jack's heart sank. "They're coming to finish what Commander Rex started." "Worse," Thorne said. "The Emperor's daughter, Admiral Nova, commands the Shadow Fleet. She's the most brilliant military mind in the Draconian Empire. And according to this message they're broadcasting, she's bringing technology designed specifically to counter Earth's defense system." President Reeves was informed immediately. Emergency meetings were held with all the alien representatives. "We will help defend Earth," Captain Thorne announced to the gathered leaders. "The Galactic Council cannot allow the Draconians to destroy a species with such unique abilities." Not all aliens agreed. Some left quickly, not wanting to be caught in the coming battle. As the Shadow Fleet approached, Earth prepared for another invasion. But this time, they were not alone. Several alien races offered ships, weapons, and knowledge. In the lab beneath Stonehenge, Jack, Eliza, and Captain Thorne worked frantically to understand and enhance Earth's natural defenses. If Admiral Nova had found a way to counter the dimensional shift, they needed to make it stronger. "We need to activate all the ancient sites at once," Eliza suggested. "Create a network that covers the entire planet." Jack studied the map of sites around the world. Pyramids, stone circles, temples, all built on natural power points of the Earth. It could work, but how do we activate them all simultaneously? Captain Thorne smiled for the first time since the Shadow Fleet was detected. "That's where my people can help. We have technology that can amplify energy signals across vast distances." As the Shadow Fleet entered the solar system, Earth prepared for its greatest test. This time, humanity was not ignorant of the cosmos. This time they would fight with knowledge of their own power, and with allies from the stars. Admiral Nova watched Earth grow larger on her view screen, her scaled face set in grim determination. "So this is the planet that defeated my father's fleet," she hissed. "We shall see if it can defeat mine." The Shadow Fleet appeared in Earth's sky like black stars, 300 warships, each larger and more deadly than those in the first invasion. Admiral Nova's flagship, the Void, was twice the size of any other vessel, its surface covered in strange technology that pulsed with purple light. "Energy dampeners ready," Nova commanded from her bridge, her voice cold and precise. Unlike her father, Commander Rex, she did not underestimate the humans. Begin scanning for dimensional anomalies. On Earth, preparations moved at frantic speed. Jack and Eliza had developed a plan with Captain Thorne to amplify Earth's natural defenses. Teams of humans and aliens worked at ancient sites around the world, installing devices that would strengthen the dimensional energy field. At Stonehenge, Jack watched as Thorne's engineers connected glowing blue crystals to each standing stone. "Will this really work?" he asked. Thorne adjusted a crystal. "In theory. We're combining your natural planetary defense with our technology. No one has ever attempted this before." Eliza approached with her tablet. "The Shadow Fleet is holding position just beyond the moon. They're scanning us." "They're being cautious," Jack said. "Learning from the first invasion's mistake." President Reeves arrived by helicopter with military leaders from around the world. The Stone Circle had become Earth's main defense command. "Status report," she demanded. Eliza pointed to the map showing all major ancient sites around the planet. 15 locations are online. 7 more will be ready within the hour. "The Shadow Fleet will not wait much longer," Thorne warned. "Admiral Nova is known for striking when least expected." As if his words had summoned her, a voice suddenly came through all communication devices. Even people's phones and computers across the planet broadcast the same message: "People of Earth." Admiral Nova's voice was smooth but threatening. "Your trick worked once. It will not work again. We have studied your dimensional defense and developed countermeasures. Surrender, now or be destroyed." To demonstrate her power, Nova fired a single weapon at the moon. A beam of red energy struck the surface and a large crater appeared. The message was clear: Earth would be next. President Reeves turned to Jack. "Options?" Before he could answer, Thorne's sensors beeped urgently. "Multiple ships breaking formation. They're attacking." The sky lit up as the Shadow Fleet launched its first assault, but instead of targeting cities like the previous invasion, they aimed for the ancient sites. "They know," Eliza cried. "They've figured out the power points." Red beams streaked toward pyramids in Egypt, stone formations in Peru, and temples in Asia. But as the energy weapons neared their targets, something unexpected happened. The beams slowed, twisted, and then fed into the very sites they meant to destroy. Jack watched in amazement as Stonehenge absorbed a direct hit, the stones glowing brighter with each attack. "It's working. Their weapons are actually charging. Our defense system." Admiral Nova saw it too. On her view screen, the energy readings from Earth's power points grew stronger with each attack. "Cease fire," she commanded. "They're using our weapons against us." But several Draconian ships had moved too close to the planet. As Earth's defense field strengthened, these vessels began to flicker and distort. 5 ships vanished in quick succession, just as they had during the first invasion. Nova slammed her fist on her command console. "Deploy the phase stabilizers. All ships, maintain distance from the planet." Large devices extended from the remaining Draconian ships, emitting fields of purple energy that seemed to steady the vessels, preventing them from shifting dimensions. "The countermeasures are working," Thorne observed grimly. "They can withstand the field now." Jack studied the readings. "Not completely. Look, their ships are still affected, just not enough to vanish." Eliza pointed to new data appearing on her screen. "The stabilizers are protecting them but using massive amounts of energy. They can't attack while the stabilizers are active." This created a stalemate. The Shadow Fleet couldn't approach Earth without risking dimensional shifting, but Earth couldn't force them to leave. Admiral Nova was not known for patience. After 2 hours of standoff, she ordered a new approach. "Launch ground troops at all power points. The stabilizers will protect them until landing." Thousands of transport pods shot from the Shadow Fleet, each containing 20 Draconian warriors. They streaked toward Earth, targeting the ancient sites. At Stonehenge, Jack watched the pods descending. "They're sending soldiers to destroy the sites directly." Captain Thorne activated defense shields around the stone circle. "We expected this. The Council ships will intercept as many as we can." The sky filled with dogfights as alien allies engaged the Draconian transports. Many pods were destroyed, but others broke through. crashing near ancient sites worldwide. At Stonehenge, Jack and Eliza helped organize the defense as Draconian soldiers approached the perimeter. Earth military forces fought alongside alien allies, using weapons designed to disrupt the invaders' phase stabilizers. One Draconian warrior broke through the line, charging toward the center stone. Jack tackled him, knocking the alien off balance. They rolled on the ground, the Draconian's superior strength almost overwhelming Jack until Eliza struck the alien stabilizer pack with a metal rod. The device sparked and failed. The effect was immediate. The Draconian soldier began to flicker, his body becoming transparent. His eyes widened in terror as he started to shift dimensions. What? What is happening to me? The soldier gasped, looking at his fading hands. You're not dying, Jack told him. You're transcending. The soldier vanished completely, shifted to another dimension like the ships before him. This scene repeated across the globe as Draconian soldiers lost their stabilizers and vanished. The tide began to turn in Earth's favor. On her flagship, Admiral, Nova watched in growing frustration as her forces dwindled. Prepare my personal transport, she ordered. I will lead the final assault myself. Nova's transport was unlike any other, a sleek black vessel with the most powerful phase stabilizers available. She headed directly for Stonehenge, the strongest power point. Jack, Eliza, and Thorne were coordinating global defenses when Nova's ship screamed overhead, landing just outside the stone circle. The Admiral emerged alone, wearing armor covered in the same purple technology as her ships. Impressive, she said, walking calmly toward them despite weapons aimed at her. No species has ever repelled a Draconian invasion. My father was right to fear this planet. Then why continue the attack? President Reeves asked, stepping forward. Nova's yellow eyes narrowed. Because what you have cannot be allowed to spread. A power that renders our military useless? The Emperor would rather see this planet destroyed. We don't want war, Jack said. We were defending ourselves. Nova laughed coldly. It doesn't matter what you want. Your existence threatens Draconian dominance. As they spoke, Eliza noticed something strange. The stones were reacting to Nova's presence, glowing brighter as she approached. The dimensional energy was building, despite her stabilizers. Your technology is failing, Eliza said quietly. Nova glanced at her suit readouts and saw the warning lights. For the first time, fear showed on her face. Impossible. These stabilizers could withstand 10 times this field strength. Because you're calculating based on your first encounter, Thorne explained. But each attack strengthens the field. Your weapons, your ships, even your presence, all of it feeds the defense system. Nova backed away, but it was too late. Her stabilizer suit began to spark and smoke. The Admiral turned to run to her ship, but her legs were already becoming transparent. Tell the galaxy, she shouted as her body began to shift dimensions. The humans don't defeat you, they transcend you. With those final words, Admiral Nova vanished completely. In orbit, the Shadow Fleet witnessed their leader's disappearance. Without orders, they began to retreat, moving beyond the moon where Earth's influence couldn't reach them. At Stonehenge, celebrations broke out among humans and alien allies. The second invasion had been repelled. Earth was safe. Jack stood among the ancient stones, now glowing with soft blue light. It's not over, he said to Eliza and Thorne. The Draconian Emperor won't stop with 2 failed invasions. No, Thorne agreed. But now, the galaxy has seen what Earth can do. You have allies, and more importantly, you have a power no one fully understands, not even you. Eliza looked up at the stars, now filled with friendly and retreating alien ships. Nova's last words about transcending rather than defeating. What do you think she meant? Jack watched the retreating Shadow Fleet, thinking about the hundreds of Draconian ships and soldiers that had vanished. I think she realized something. We haven't yet. This isn't just a defense system. It's a doorway to something more. As night fell on Stonehenge, the ancient stones continued to pulse with energy, as if agreeing with his words. Earth had survived its second cosmic battle, but the greatest discoveries were yet to come. 6 months after Admiral Nova's defeat, Earth had changed in ways no one could have imagined. The planet now hosted representatives from 27 alien civilizations. Strange ships moved peacefully through the skies. Humans worked alongside, beings from distant stars, learning and growing together. Jack Wilson stood on a platform overlooking the largest construction project in human history. The ancient site of Stonehenge had been transformed into a massive research facility. The original stones remained untouched at the center, still glowing with soft blue energy, but now surrounded by a blend of human and alien technology. The final calibrations are complete, Eliza said, joining him on the platform. In the past months, she had become Earth's leading expert on dimensional physics, working with scientists from across the galaxy. We're ready for the first test. Jack nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. As head of the newly formed Earth Defense Initiative, he oversaw all interactions between humans and extraterrestrial visitors. Are we sure this is safe? As sure as we can be, Captain Thorne answered, his blue skin now a familiar sight around the facility. The Galactic Council representative had become Earth's strongest ally. The gateway should stabilize the dimensional corridor enough for controlled travel. Below them, scientists and engineers made final adjustments to a massive ring of technology that surrounded the ancient stones. The project had a simple but revolutionary goal: to create a stable pathway to the dimension where the Draconian ships and soldiers had vanished. The council vote was unanimous, Thorne continued. Earth is officially offered membership, the fastest invitation in galactic history. People are still debating whether to accept, Jack said. Some fear losing our independence. Eliza smiled. Others are eager to explore the stars without having to build our own ships first. The debate across Earth had been intense. After centuries of isolation, humanity suddenly faced joining a community of advanced civilizations. Some embraced the opportunity, while others feared becoming less important in the wider galactic society. The remaining Draconians have been quiet, Jack noted, changing the subject. Thorne's expression turned serious. Too quiet. Our intelligence suggests the Emperor was deeply affected by losing his daughter. The Draconian Empire has withdrawn from 3 disputed systems in the past month. Preparing for something bigger? Eliza asked. Or genuinely reconsidering their approach? Thorne replied. Their diplomats arrived at Council headquarters yesterday. The first peaceful Draconian delegation in 2 centuries. Jack watched as the gateway powered up, the ancient stones at its center pulsing with increasing energy. Maybe they finally understand that some things can't be conquered by force. A young technician approached them. We're ready to activate, sir. Jack took a deep breath and nodded. Proceed. Scientists at control panels initiated the sequence. Energy flowed from the stones into the surrounding technology. The air inside the gateway ring began to shimmer and distort. Dimensional corridor stabilizing, Eliza reported, watching readings on her tablet. Field integrity at 85%, 90% holding steady. Inside the ring, the air seemed to tear open, revealing a swirling blue vortex. Unlike the violent energy that had swallowed the Draconian ships, this portal was calm and controlled. Send the probe, Jack ordered. A small drone moved forward into the portal and disappeared. Screens showed data streaming back from the other side. We have telemetry, a scientist shouted excitedly. The probe is functional and sending data. Everyone gathered around the screens to see the first images from another dimension. The landscape looked similar to Earth, but with subtle differences. The color slightly shifted, the light coming from what appeared to be 2 suns. No sign of the Draconian ships yet, Eliza noted as the probe continued transmitting. But the dimension matches our calculations. This is definitely where they went. Then something moved across the probe's camera view. At first it was just a shadow, but then a figure came into focus. It was clearly a Draconian soldier, but changed. His scales had a blue glow, and he moved with unusual grace. The soldier looked directly at the probe, showing no fear or aggression. Instead, he raised his hand in what appeared to be a greeting. He's aware of us, Jack whispered in amazement. More figures appeared behind the first, hundreds of Draconians, all transformed in similar ways. They gathered around the probe, watching it with curious, peaceful expressions. "They've changed," Thorne said, his voice filled with wonder. "The dimension has transformed them somehow." One Draconian approached the probe and spoke. The translation system took a moment to process his words. "We have been waiting for you to find us," the transformed Draconian said. "We have learned much. In this realm, we wish to share our discovery with both worlds." Before anyone could respond, a new alarm sounded from the portal. The energy field began fluctuating wildly. "Something's coming through," a technician shouted. The portal pulsed and expanded. From its center emerged a single figure, a Draconian female in what remained of an admiral's armor. "Nova," Jack breathed, recognizing the admiral who had vanished months ago. But like the others, she too was transformed. Her scales shimmered with blue energy and her eyes held wisdom rather than aggression. She stepped forward calmly. "Greetings, humans," Nova said, her voice softer than before. "And to you, Captain Thorne of the Council. We have been expecting you to bridge the gap between our worlds." "Admiral Nova," Jack approached cautiously. "You've survived." She smiled, something no human had ever seen a Draconian do. "More than survived. We have evolved. This dimension does not destroy, it elevates consciousness. We understand now what we could not before." "What happened to the invasion fleet?" Eliza asked. "They are all here, all changed, without the aggression and fear that drove us before. We see the universe more clearly now, the connections between all things, all dimensions." Nova turned to face the gateway. "This portal you have created is just the beginning. There are countless dimensions, countless realities to explore. We wish to help you understand them." Captain Thorne stepped forward. "The Draconian Empire still threatens several worlds in our galaxy. Your father—" "I will speak with my father," Nova interrupted. "Show him what I have learned. The Empire's path of conquest is primitive compared to what we could achieve through cooperation." For the next several hours, scientists and leaders asked questions as Nova explained what she had discovered in the other dimension. The transformed Draconians had learned to perceive reality in ways even the most advanced Council species could not. By nightfall, plans were being made for an official expedition through the portal. Nova would return to her dimension, but with promises to maintain contact through the gateway. Before leaving, she took Jack aside. "Your species is unique in the known galaxy," she told him. "You exist partially in multiple dimensions without even realizing it. That is why Earth could defend itself. You are naturally attuned to the dimensional fabric of reality." "And what does that mean for our future?" Jack asked. Nova's eyes seemed to look beyond him, as if seeing something others could not. "It means humanity's destiny lies not in conquering stars, but in bridging realities. You will become the guardians of the spaces between dimensions, a role far more important than any empire." As Nova stepped back through the portal, Jack stood, with Eliza and Thorne, watching the gateway pulse with energy. "Do you believe her?" Eliza asked. "About our destiny?" Jack looked up at the night sky, seeing it differently now. Not just as distant stars to visit, but as a thin veil hiding countless other realities waiting to be discovered. "I think," he said slowly, "that we've taken our first step into a much larger universe than anyone imagined. And yes, I think protecting the doorways between worlds might be more important than conquering them." Captain Thorne placed a four-fingered hand on Jack's shoulder. "The Council will support Earth in this new role. Your world has gone from unknown to essential in less than a year." As the three stood watching the portal to another dimension, Earth continued its transformation from an isolated world to the center of a new galactic age, one built not on conquest, but on exploration and understanding of the universe's deepest mysteries. The disappearance of the Draconian Armada had not been Earth's end, but its true beginning. The morning sky over Washington, D.C. was clear and blue when they came. Commander Jack Reynolds stood on the balcony of the Earth Defense Force headquarters, sipping his coffee and enjoying the rare moment of peace. At 45, with gray starting to show in his dark hair, Jack had served in the last of Earth's conflicts before the Great Peace of 2071. 16 years of worldwide cooperation had led to amazing advances in technology and quality of life. "Commander, you need to see this." Lieutenant Tom Miller burst onto the balcony, his face pale. Jack followed him inside to the control room where dozens of screens showed the same thing: massive objects appearing in Earth's orbit. They weren't meteors or space debris. They were ships. "How many?" Jack asked, setting down his coffee mug. 57 so far, sir. And more are appearing." Jack stared at the screens. Humanity had been sending signals into space for over a century, hoping for contact. Now it had come without warning. "Get me the president." Dr. Emma Wilson was in her lab at MIT when the emergency alerts began blaring from every device. At 38, she was the leading expert in xenobiology, a field that had been mostly theoretical until today. "All personnel report to emergency stations. This is not a drill," the announcement repeated. Emma rushed to the window. In the distance, a strange light appeared in the sky above Boston. Her phone rang. "Dr. Wilson," she answered. "Doctor, this is Commander Reynolds of the EDF. We need you in Washington immediately. A military transport is already on its way to you." "What's happening?" "First contact, Doctor, and it doesn't look friendly." The President of the United Earth Alliance stood before the emergency session of the Global Council, her face grim. "Less than 1 hour ago, unknown vessels appeared in orbit. They have not responded to any attempts at communication. Our satellites have been disabled, and we've lost contact with our lunar base." The room erupted in worried murmurs. "The Earth Defense Forces on high alert," she continued. "But I must be honest, we are facing technology far beyond our own." A young aide rushed in and whispered something to the president. Her face went white. "They're broadcasting a message." The main screen lit up, showing a humanoid figure with gray-blue skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Its voice was translated by the computer into a flat, mechanical tone. "People of Earth, we are the Valari Dominion. Your planet is now under our control. Resistance will result in destruction. You have 1 hour to surrender your governing bodies to Valari authority." The screen went dark. Jack paced the EDF command center. "What are our options?" General Bill Harris, head of the Space Division, shook his head. "Limited, sir. Our orbital platforms are outgunned. Ground-based defenses might take out a few ships, but not 57. "And if we surrender?" Jack asked. "Based on similar situations in history," said Dr. Wilson, who had arrived minutes earlier, "complete subjugation at best, extinction at worst." Jack nodded. "Then we fight." "Sir," called out a sensor operator. "Energy spikes from the alien vessels." The room fell silent as everyone watched the monitors. Bright beams shot from the ships toward Earth's surface. "Impact points?" Jack demanded. "Major cities worldwide, sir. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow." The building shook as a distant boom echoed across Washington. The aliens had not waited for Earth's answer. The first day of the invasion was the worst in human history. The Valari strikes hit population centers with deadly accuracy. Billions died in the first hours. The survivors watched in horror as strange ships descended through the smoke-filled skies, landing troops and machines. 3 days after the initial attack, Jack and Emma found themselves in an underground bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, one of the few EDF facilities still operating. "This is what we know," Jack told the assembled military and civilian leaders. "The Valari are an expansionist species. This isn't their first invasion." Emma stepped forward. "From the data we've gathered, they've conquered at least 12 other worlds. Their tactics are always the same: hit hard, destroy resistance, then establish control." "What do they want?" asked a senator who had escaped the destruction of Washington. "Resources," Emma replied, "particularly water and certain rare minerals. And labor. They use conquered species as workers." Jack pointed to a map showing Valari positions. "They control most major cities now, But their numbers aren't unlimited. They rely on fear more than anything. If we can organize resistance. The bunker's communication system crackled to life. A Valari face appeared on screen. I am High Commander Krell of the Valari Dominion. Your resistance is noted and will be punished. Tomorrow we will destroy one city for every day you refuse to surrender. I speak directly to your military leader, Jack Reynolds. We know you survive. Surrender yourself, and fewer humans will die. The transmission ended. They know who you are, Emma said quietly. Jack's jaw tightened. Good. Then they know who to fear. 1 week after the initial attack, Jack led a small team into the ruins of Denver. The city was under Valari control, with alien patrols moving through the streets and strange flying machines monitoring from above. Stay low, Jack whispered to his team of 6 soldiers and Emma. We need to reach the lab. Denver University's advanced physics lab held equipment Emma believed could be vital for understanding Valari technology. They moved through the shadows of destroyed buildings, avoiding Valari patrols. Twice they had to hide as flying drones passed overhead. Their pattern recognition software isn't designed for Earth, Emma whispered, as they crouched behind a collapsed wall. They're looking for movement, but they don't understand how humans hide. At the university, most buildings were damaged, but the science complex remained partially intact. The team slipped inside, using night vision to navigate the dark hallways. Here, Emma said, stopping at a reinforced door. The quantum lab. Inside, they found what they were looking for, advanced scanning equipment that might help understand Valari technology. As they gathered the equipment, a sound from outside froze them in place. Patrol, whispered Tom, who was watching the end window. Through the broken glass, they saw 3 Valari soldiers walking toward the building. Each stood 7 feet tall, wearing armor that seemed to shift colors in the moonlight. They carried weapons unlike anything humans had seen before, living metal that moved and adjusted in their 4-fingered hands. If they find us, they'll call for backup, Jack said quietly. We need to take them out silently. The team moved into position. Jack gave the signal, and they struck with practiced precision. The fight was brief but intense. The Valari were stronger than humans, but Jack's team had the element of surprise. Within minutes, the aliens lay dead, and the humans had 3 Valari weapons. Let's move, Jack ordered. More will come soon. As they escaped into the night, carrying the lab equipment and alien weapons, Jack looked back at the ruined city. Anger burned inside him, but also determination. They hit us first, he said quietly. They won't get the chance to hit anyone else. Emma nodded beside him. We'll make sure of it. The small group of humans disappeared into the shadows, carrying the seeds of what would become humanity's greatest fight, and ultimately its greatest victory. 6 months after the Valari attack, Earth was a changed planet. Cities lay in ruins, billions were dead, and the alien invaders controlled most of the world's resources. But humans were far from defeated. In the mountains of what was once called Colorado, the Resistance had built its main base. Hidden deep underground, protected by natural caves and human ingenuity, it served as the headquarters for the fight against the Valari. Jack Reynolds stood before a map table, studying the positions of known Valari outposts. His face was thinner, now with a scar running along his jaw from a close encounter with a Valari patrol. Report, he said as Emma Wilson entered the room. Emma looked tired, but excited. Her lab coat was stained and torn in places, a sign of the limited resources they worked with. We've made a breakthrough, she said. The Valari weapons we captured, we finally understand how they work. Jack looked up with interest. Can we make our own? Not yet, but we can disable theirs. Emma placed a small device on the table. The Valari weapons are linked to their biology. That's why we couldn't use them, but it also gives us an advantage. How so? They respond to specific frequencies, like a remote control. With this device, we can shut them down within a 100-meter radius. For the first time in months, Jack smiled. That changes everything. Good work, Doctor. Tom Miller, now Jack's second in command, entered the room. Sir, Our scouts have returned from Denver. The Valari are building something big. Some kind of tower. Communication center, most likely, Jack said. They're still trying to contact their home fleet for reinforcements. Then we need to destroy it, Tom said. Jack nodded. And now we have the means to do it. The human resistance had grown stronger each month. Small groups operated in every region, sharing information through an underground network. The Valari, expecting humans to give up, were unprepared for their determination. High Commander Krell paced in his command center, built in the ruins of the former human capital. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of stress in Valari. Another supply depot attacked. He growled to his officers. That's the 5th this month. How are these primitives doing this? They hide among the ruins, said his second in command. They strike quickly and disappear. They should have surrendered by now. Krell slammed his 4-fingered hand on the control panel. No species has resisted us this long. Double the patrols. Kill any human found outside the work camps. In the shadows outside the window, a small drone hovered silently, broadcasting every word back to the resistance. 2 weeks later, Jack led a team of 20 fighters toward Denver. They moved at night, using the cover of a storm to mask their approach. Each carried Emma's new device along with conventional weapons. Remember, the devices have a limited range, Jack told them. Get close before activating them. The Denver outpost was heavily guarded. 20 Valari soldiers patrolled the perimeter of the massive tower that now dominated the city center. Strange energy pulsed from its top, reaching into the sky. They're nearly ready to call for reinforcements, Emma whispered. She had insisted on coming despite Jack's objections. If that signal reaches their homeworld, we'll face 10 times as many Valari. Then we make sure it doesn't, Jack replied. He gave hand signals to his team and they split into 4 groups, each approaching the tower from a different direction. Jack, Emma, and 3 others took the most dangerous route, directly through the front checkpoint. They wore cloaks made from Valari armor pieces, designed to confuse the aliens' heat sensors. As they approached the checkpoint, Emma activated her device. The effect was immediate. The 2 Valari guards looked down in confusion as their weapons went dead in their hands. Before they could raise an alarm, Jack's team struck. The fight was silent and quick. Inside now, Jack ordered. They entered the tower, moving quickly through its strange corridors. The architecture was alien, with curves and angles that made no sense to human eyes. They passed several Valari who looked at them with surprise before being taken down. The main control room should be at the top, Emma said, consulting a small scanner she had built from salvaged Valari technology. As they climbed, alarms began to sound. They know we're here, Jack said. Move faster. At the top level, they found a large circular room filled with Valari technology. Through the windows, they could see the whole ruined city spread out below them. 5 Valari technicians worked at control panels. Jack nodded to his team. They activated their devices together, and all Valari weapons in the room went dead. The aliens turned in shock as the humans burst in. The fight was brief, but violent. When it ended, Jack's team controlled the room, though 2 of their members were badly wounded. How much time do we need? Jack asked Emma, who was already working at the main control panel. 10 minutes to download their data, 5 more to set the charges, she replied, her fingers moving quickly over the alien controls. Their entire database is here. Maps of all their outposts on Earth, technical specifications of their weapons, everything. Jack nodded and turned to his radio. All teams report. The replies came in. All teams had secured their areas. The tower was under human control. As Emma worked, Jack looked out at the ruined city. In the distance, he could see movement. More Valari forces responding to the alarm. We have company coming, he said. Hurry. Emma didn't look up from her work. Almost done with the download. Then I'll plant the charges. Jack watched as she copied the Valari database into a small device she had built. When it was complete, she moved quickly around the room, placing explosive charges at key points. There's something else here, she said suddenly, her eyes wide as she looked at the control panel. Their communications log. They've been sending Reports back to their homeworld. Can you read it? Yes, and Jack, this isn't their first invasion. They've conquered 12 other worlds before Earth. Jack's face darkened. Then those worlds need freedom too. Emma nodded. The charges are set. We have 5 minutes. Jack called to his team. Time to go. Bring the wounded. They moved quickly, down through the tower, fighting their way past Valari reinforcements that had entered the building. Outside, chaos had erupted as the other human teams engaged the Valari forces. Everyone out. Now, Jack shouted into his radio. The human fighters broke away from the battle, retreating through pre-planned escape routes. The Valari, confused by their sudden withdrawal, hesitated to follow. From a hillside a mile away, Jack, Emma, and the surviving members of their team watched as the tower exploded. The blast lit up the night sky and the tower collapsed in on itself. That should set them back months, Jack said with grim satisfaction. Emma held up the small device containing the stolen data, and this will help us hit them even harder next time. As they made their way back to their hidden base, Jack felt something he hadn't felt in months. Hope. The Valari were strong, but humanity was learning, adapting, and fighting back. They hit us first, Jack said quietly, but we're just getting started. 1 year had passed since the Valari attacked Earth. In that time, humanity had gone from helpless victims to determined fighters. The Resistance now operated on every continent, sharing information through a hidden network of old radio systems the Valari couldn't track. In the main Resistance base, Jack Reynolds stood before the largest gathering of Resistance leaders ever assembled. 30 men and women from around the world had risked everything to travel here. Thanks to Dr. Wilson and her team, Jack began, we now understand Valari technology better than they ever expected we could. Emma stepped forward. The past year had changed her too. The scientist was now also a fighter with the same determined look in her eyes as the soldiers around her. The data we captured from the Denver Tower gave us everything, she said. Their weapons, their ships, their communications, we've been studying it all. And we've made 2 major breakthroughs. She pressed a button, and a 3D map appeared, showing Earth and the Valari ships still in orbit. First, we've created a virus that can infect their control systems. Once uploaded to their main network, it will disable their orbital weapons. Murmurs of approval spread through the room. Second, Emma continued, we've discovered their greatest weakness. Everyone leaned forward. The Valari have an extremely sensitive hearing range. Certain sound frequencies cause them intense pain, even unconsciousness. We've developed sonic weapons that can incapacitate them without harming humans. Jack stepped forward again. Which brings us to our plan. It's time to take back our planet. High Commander Krell was furious. For months, the human resistance had been growing bolder. Supply lines were disrupted, outposts were attacked, and now 3 Valari ships had been sabotaged while on the ground. These humans are not like the others we've conquered, he growled to his officers. We should have wiped them out completely from orbit. The resources would have been damaged, his second-in-command reminded him. Resources can be found elsewhere. Krell slammed his fist down. Send word to the mothership, I want all human resistance cells bombed from orbit, no more prisoners, no more work camps, just elimination. That night, a small team of humans approached the main Valari base in what was once Washington, D.C. Jack and Emma led 10 of their best fighters, each carrying the new sonic weapons and wearing uniforms made from modified Valari armor. Remember, we need to reach the central computer, Jack reminded them. Everything depends on uploading the virus. Emma checked the small device in her hand one last time. Months of work had gone into creating the virus that would disable the Valari orbital platforms. They reached the outer perimeter of the base. 2 Valari guards stood at the entrance, their weapons ready. Now, Jack whispered. 2 of his team activated small devices. The sounds they emitted were barely noticeable to human ears, but the effect on the Valari was immediate. The guards clutched their heads in pain, dropping to their knees. Move in, Jack ordered. The team rushed forward, stunning the guards with conventional weapons. They dragged the unconscious Valari into the shadows and took their positions. Tom, you and your team create a distraction on the east side in 5 minutes, Jack said into his radio. We'll use the confusion to reach the central computer. Understood, came Tom's reply. Jack, Emma and 3 others entered the base, moving quickly. Through the alien corridors, they encountered few Valari. Most were at their stations or resting in their quarters. The main control room should be 2 levels up, Emma whispered, checking a small scanner. As they climbed the stairs, a loud explosion rocked the building. Tom's distraction had begun. Alarms blared throughout the base. The sounds of running feet and shouted Valari commands filled the air. Perfect, Jack said. Most of their forces will head to the explosion. They reached the upper level and found the entrance to the control room. 4 Valari stood guard, looking alert and ready. Sonic, weapons, Jack ordered. The team activated their devices. The guards immediately grabbed at their heads, their 4 eyes squeezing shut in pain. Within seconds, they collapsed. Inside, quickly, Jack said. The control room was larger than they expected. A dozen Valari technicians worked at various stations, with a massive central computer dominating the room. When the humans burst in, the aliens reached for weapons. Now! Jack shouted. Emma turned up her sonic device to maximum. The effect was devastating. Every Valari in the room fell to the floor, some unconscious, others writhing in pain. Cover the door, Jack ordered 2 of his team while Emma rushed to the central computer. She connected her device and began uploading the virus. This will take 2 minutes, she said, her fingers flying over the alien controls. Jack kept his weapon trained on the fallen Valari. Hurry. We won't have much time before reinforcements arrive. As Emma worked, Jack's radio crackled. Sir, came Tom's voice, we've got trouble. Krell himself is here, with at least 30 soldiers. Hold them off as long as you can, Jack replied. We're almost done. The sounds of battle echoed through the base. Tom's team was fighting hard, but they were outnumbered. Upload complete, Emma announced. The virus is in their system. On the main screen above them, they could see the status of the Valari orbital platforms. One by one, the lights representing their weapon systems began to turn from green to red. It's working, Emma said, a smile spreading across her face. Their orbital weapons are shutting down. Jack nodded. Now for Phase 2, signal all resistance, cells worldwide. The counterattack begins now. Emma activated a hidden transmitter in her pack, sending a coded message to resistance groups around the world. At that moment, in every major city and Valari outpost, human fighters launched coordinated attacks. Time to go, Jack said. We need to reach the shuttle bay. They left the control room, rushing through corridors now filled with confused and panicking Valari. Some tried to stop them, only to be incapacitated by the sonic weapons. This way, Emma said, consulting her scanner. The shuttle bay is 1 level down. As they turned a corner, they came face to face with High Commander Krell and 10 of his soldiers. The Valari leader's 4 eyes widened in recognition. Reynolds, he hissed. Krell, Jack replied calmly, raising his sonic device. But Krell was prepared. He and his soldiers wore what looked like modified helmets covering their hearing organs. Did you think we wouldn't adapt? Krell said, raising his weapon. You humans always underestimate us. No, Jack said with a smile. You've always underestimated us. He fired his weapon not at Krell but at the ceiling above him. The blast brought down a section of the roof separating Krell from half his soldiers. Run! Jack shouted to his team. They sprinted down a side corridor, hearing Krell's angry shouts. Behind them, 2 of Krell's soldiers managed to follow, firing their weapons. One blast hit a member of Jack's team, who fell with a cry of pain. Leave no one behind, Jack ordered, turning to fire back as another team member helped the wounded fighter. They reached the shuttle bay to find it in chaos. Valari were rushing to their ships, some to join the fight, others trying to escape. The now vulnerable base. There, Emma pointed to a small Valari shuttle. That one's perfect. They fought their way across the bay, using both sonic weapons and captured Valari guns. When they reached the shuttle, Emma quickly bypassed the security system, opening the door. Everyone inside, Jack ordered. As his team boarded, Jack looked back across the bay. Krell had arrived, his face twisted with fury as he spotted Jack. Jack gave the Valari commander a mocking salute before jumping into the shuttle. Emma was already at the controls, activating the engines. "Can you fly this thing?" Jack asked. "I've spent a year studying their technology," Emma replied. "Watch me." The shuttle lifted off, its weapons firing at the bay doors to force them open. As they shot out into the night sky, Jack looked down at the Valari base. Fires had broken out in several places, and the sounds of battle echoed across the ruins of Washington. "It's happening everywhere," Emma said, checking the shuttle's communication system. "All resistance cells are attacking. We've taken back São Paulo and Berlin already." Jack nodded, allowing himself a moment of hope. "Their orbital weapons are disabled. Their communication with their homeworld is cut off. For the first time, we're fighting on equal terms." "No," Emma said, looking at him with fire in her eyes. "We're going to do better than that. We have their shuttle technology now. Jack, we can take the fight to them." Jack's eyes widened as he understood what she was suggesting. "Their homeworld?" Emma nodded. "They hit Earth first. Let's make sure they never fight a war again." 3 months after the Great Counterattack, humanity had reclaimed most of Earth. The remaining Valari forces were scattered and cut off from their command structure. Without their orbital weapons, they were forced to fight on the ground, a day battle they were losing. At the former Valari base in Washington, D.C., now the headquarters of the Earth Defense Force, Jack Reynolds studied the captured alien star charts displayed on a large screen. "Veltharaya," he said, pointing to a bright star system. "The Valari homeworld." Around the table stood the leaders of the resistance, now called the United Earth Forces. Emma Wilson stood at Jack's right hand, while Tom Miller and others from around the world completed the circle. "Are you sure about this?" asked General Maria Lopez, commander of the South American forces. "Attacking their homeworld is a massive escalation." Jack nodded. "They came to our world, they killed billions. If we don't stop them at their source, they'll be back with an even larger force." "The technology is ready," Emma added. "From the Valari shuttles and ships we've captured, we've built 5 warships capable of reaching Velthara." "5 ships against an entire world?" asked Tom, doubt in his voice. Emma smiled. "We don't need a huge fleet. We have something better." She held up a small device. "An improved version of our sonic weapon. This one can affect the entire Valari species at once, broadcast through their own communication network." "It won't kill them," Jack explained. "But it will incapacitate them long enough for us to take control." "And the 12 other worlds they conquered?" asked a resistance leader from Asia. "We free them too," Jack said simply. "We end the Valari threat forever, not through genocide but through control and rehabilitation." The room fell silent as everyone considered the plan. Finally, General Lopez spoke. "When do we leave?" "The 5 Earth warships, built from captured Valari technology, prepared for launch. Each ship carried a crew of 20 humans, all veterans of the resistance. The largest ship, named Terra, would be commanded by Jack himself, with Emma on board to control the sonic weapon." The launch site was in the Arizona desert, hidden from any remaining Valari scouts. Crowds of people had gathered to watch, cheering as the ships rose into the air one by one. Inside the Terra, Jack strapped himself into the command chair. Around him, his crew worked at their stations, still getting used to the alien technology. "All systems operational," reported Tom, who served as Jack's second in command. "The other ships report ready." "Dr. Wilson, status of the weapon?" Jack asked. Emma looked up from her console. "Fully charged and tested. It will work, Jack." Jack nodded and opened a channel to all ships. "This is Commander Reynolds. Today we take the fight to the enemy that thought they could conquer Earth. We go not for revenge but for justice, not just for humanity, but for all species the Valari have oppressed." He paused, looking at the faces of his crew. "They hit Earth first. We will make sure they never fight a war again." A cheer went up across all 5 ships. Jack turned to his pilot. "Take us up." The ships rose higher, breaking through the atmosphere into the blackness of space. The blue curve of Earth shrank below them. "FTL drives ready," reported the engineer. Jack took a deep breath. Engage. The stars blurred as the ships accelerated to faster than light speed, using the Valari technology that Emma and her team had mastered. They were the first humans to leave the solar system, traveling farther than any person had gone before. The journey to Velthara would take 2 weeks. During that time, the crews trained and prepared for every possible scenario. Emma worked constantly, fine-tuning the sonic weapon to ensure it would work through the Valari communication network. "We'll only get one chance," she told Jack during a quiet moment on the bridge. "Once they know what we're doing, they'll shut down their network." "Then we make it count," Jack replied. 2 weeks later, the small human fleet dropped out of FTL on the edge of the Velthara system. Immediately, their sensors detected dozens of Valari ships patrolling the area. "They haven't spotted us yet," Tom reported. "Our modified shields are working. They're hiding our energy signature." On the main screen, they could see Velthara itself, a blue-green world larger than Earth with 3 small moons. "Their central command is located here," Emma said, highlighting a spot on the planet's largest continent. "That's where we need to get to upload the sonic weapon to their network." Jack studied the tactical display. "Their orbital defenses are stronger than Earth's were. We can't fight our way through." "We don't have to," Emma replied. "I've been studying their identification codes. We can make our ships appear to be returning Valari vessels." "Will that work?" Tom asked. "The Valari are arrogant," Emma said. "They never expected anyone to capture their ships and use them to reach their homeworld. Their security is designed to keep other species out, not their own kind." Jack nodded. "Do it." Emma entered a series of commands, transmitting false identification codes to their ships. On the tactical display, the Valari patrol vessels continued their routes, not reacting to the human ships. "It's working," Tom said quietly. "They think we're Valari." "Take us in," Jack ordered. "Maintain formation and follow the usual Valari approach vectors." The 5 ships moved toward Velthara, following the standard flight paths used by Valari vessels. As they approached the planet, they received automated landing instructions from the surface. "They're directing us to the main military spaceport," Emma reported. "Right where we want to go." Jack opened a channel to the other ships. "This is it. Once we land, we'll have minutes at most before they realize we're not Valari. Blue team, secure the landing area. Red team, with me and Dr. Wilson to the central command. Green team, hold the ships and prepare for emergency departure." The Terra led the way, descending through Velthara's atmosphere. Through the viewports, they could see the alien landscape below, strange purple-leaved forests and gleaming cities. "It's beautiful," someone whispered. "So was Earth," Jack replied grimly. The ships landed at the massive spaceport. Outside Valari, ground crews approached, expecting to greet their own kind. "Now," Jack ordered. The ship's doors opened, and human soldiers rushed out, armed with sonic weapons. The Valari ground crews collapsed immediately, their 4 eyes wide, with shock and pain. "Move fast," Jack commanded. "We have 10 minutes at most before they sound a general alarm." Jack led his team toward the central command building, a tall structure in the center of the spaceport. Emma ran beside him, carrying the device that would connect to the Valari network. They met resistance as they entered the building. Valari security forces armed and ready, but the sonic weapons gave the humans an overwhelming advantage. The Valari fell, clutching their heads in agony. "This way," Emma said, following the map they had extracted from captured Valari computers. They fought their way to the central communication room. Valari technicians tried to stop them, but to no avail. Within minutes, the room was secure. "How long?" Jack asked as Emma connected her device to the main console. 3 minutes to upload, 2 more for it to spread through their entire network, she replied, her fingers moving rapidly over the alien controls. Jack turned to his radio. "All teams report." The responses came back. All positions secure, but Valari reinforcements were on the way. "Hurry," Jack told Emma. "Upload complete," she announced. Now we wait for it to propagate. On the large screens around the room, they could see views of Velthara cities. Suddenly, Valari everywhere began to drop to the ground, incapacitated by the sonic frequencies now broadcasting through every speaker and communication device on the planet. "It's working," Emma said with a smile of satisfaction. Jack opened a channel that would broadcast to all Valari communication devices. His voice would be heard by every Valari on the planet who was still conscious. "People of Velthara, I am Commander Jack Reynolds of Earth. Your forces attacked our world without provocation, killing billions of our people. Today, we have brought the war to your doorstep." He paused, looking at Emma, who nodded encouragingly. "But we are not like you. We do not seek to conquer or destroy. We demand the immediate surrender of all Valari forces, the release of all conquered species, and the dismantling of your war fleet. Comply, and your people will live. Resist, and we will be forced to take more drastic measures." As Jack spoke, Tom rushed into the room. "Sir, we've got the entire planet under control. The sonic weapon worked better than we expected. Nearly every Valari is incapacitated." Jack nodded. "And the other ships in the system?" "Adrift. Their crews are affected, too. It's a complete victory." For the first time in nearly 2 years, Jack felt the weight on his shoulders lighten. He looked at Emma, whose eyes shone with tears of relief and triumph. "We did it," she whispered. "We really did it." Jack turned back to the broadcast. "To the conquered peoples of the 12 worlds under Valari control, help is coming. Your long nightmare is over." He switched off the broadcast and turned to his team. "Secure the planet. Prepare for the arrival of the Earth fleet." "Earth fleet?" Tom asked, confused. "What Earth fleet?" Jack smiled. "The one we're going to build using Valari shipyards. It's time to free those other worlds." As they walked back to their ships, Jack looked up at the alien sky. The war wasn't over. There were still 12 worlds to free and a Valari society to reform. But the biggest step had been taken. They had hit Earth first. Humans had made sure they would never fight a war again. 1 year after the capture of Velthara, a new era had begun. The massive Valari shipyards, once used to build weapons of conquest, now produced vessels of peace and exploration. Under human guidance, the Valari war machine had been transformed. Jack Reynolds stood on the observation deck of the Unity, the largest ship ever built in the Valari shipyards. At 51, his hair was now more gray than black, but his eyes still held the same determination they had when the invasion began, 3 years ago. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Emma Wilson joined him at the viewport. She had changed too, more confident now, with the bearing of someone who had helped reshape the destiny of not just one world, but many. "Hard to believe what we've accomplished," Jack agreed, looking out at the fleet gathered around them. 50 ships crewed by humans and representatives from all 12 formerly conquered species. "The Liberation Fleet is ready," Tom Miller reported, entering the observation deck. "Final checks complete. We launch in 2 hours." Jack nodded. The last world. After this, all species conquered by the Valari will be free. Over the past year, the joint human-alien fleet had traveled to each of the 12 worlds the Valari had conquered, freeing them from Valari control. Some had been under alien rule for decades, their people forced to work in mines or factories. But there was one world left, Rantara, the most distant of the Valari conquests. "How are our Valari crew members?" Jack asked. "Adapting well," Emma replied. "The rehabilitation program is working better than expected. Those who have accepted that their conquering days are over are proving to be valuable allies." After capturing Velthara, humans had established a program to rehabilitate the Valari society. Those who rejected violence were allowed to join the new fleet as support staff, under careful supervision. It was a controversial decision, but Jack had insisted. "We didn't come here for revenge," he had said. "We came to end war." Now, as they prepared for their final liberation mission, Jack felt a sense of completion. The emergency communication system chimed, interrupting his thoughts. "Commander Reynolds," came a voice. "You're needed in the diplomatic hall. The representatives have arrived." The diplomatic hall of the Unity was filled with beings from across the galaxy. Representatives of all 12 liberated worlds had gathered, along with human leaders and even reformed Valari. It was the first meeting of what would become the Galactic Peace Council. Jack entered the hall with Emma and Tom beside him. The diverse assembly fell silent. "Commander Reynolds," greeted Nari, a tall blue-skinned being from Lorath, the first world they had liberated. "We are ready to begin." Jack took his place at the circular table. There were no head positions, no places of honor. All representatives sat as equals. 3 years ago, Jack began, the Valari attacked Earth without warning. They killed billions of my people thinking we would surrender quickly, as others had before us. He looked around the table, meeting the eyes of each representative. They were wrong. Humanity fought back. Not just for ourselves, but eventually for all peoples oppressed by the Valari. Today, as we prepare to liberate the final world under their control, we also lay the foundation for a new order, one where no species will ever again suffer as we have. Nari spoke next. The people of Lorath were conquered 20 years ago. We had forgotten what freedom felt like until humans came. We owe you a debt we can never repay. No debts, Jack replied firmly. Only a shared commitment to ensure this never happens again. One by one, representatives from each world spoke, sharing stories of Valari conquest and the joy of liberation. Even a Valari representative, one who had opposed the conquests from the beginning, spoke of his hope for his people's redemption. The proposed Galactic Peace Council will have 3 main purposes, Emma explained, displaying the charter on large screens around the room. First, mutual defense. An attack on any member world will be considered an attack on all. Second, cultural and scientific exchange to benefit all species. Third, rehabilitation and monitoring of the Valari to ensure they never again become a threat. The discussion continued for hours, refining the details of the agreement. Finally, as the meeting concluded, Jack called for a vote. Those in favor of establishing the Galactic Peace Council under these terms, please indicate. One by one, each representative signaled their approval. The charter was adopted unanimously. "Then it is done," Jack said. "After we liberate Rantara, the council will officially begin its work." As the representatives filed out, Emma stayed beside Jack. "You look tired," she said quietly. "It's been a long 3 years," he admitted. "What will you do after Rantara? The war will be over." Jack looked out the viewport at the stars. "I'm not sure. I've been a soldier most of my life. I don't know if I remember how to be anything else." "You could stay on as Earth's representative to the Council," she suggested, "or come with me. The Valari databases contain star charts for thousands of unexplored systems. We could lead the first true exploration missions." Before Jack could answer, Tom rushed back into the room. "Sir, we've received a transmission from our advanced scouts at Rantara. You need to see this." The command center of the Unity buzzed with activity as Jack, Emma, and Tom entered. On the main screen was an image of Rantara, a small rocky world that should have been covered with Valari mining operations. Instead, there was nothing. No Valari bases, no ships in orbit. "What am I looking at?" Jack asked. "Rantara is abandoned," the communications officer explained. "The Valari pulled out 3 months ago, according to the locals. They just left." "The sonic weapon," Emma said in realization. "When we broadcast it through their network, it reached their forces on all worlds. They must have retreated. The locals are requesting to speak with you," the officer told Jack. Jack nodded and the screen changed to show a reptilian being with iridescent scales and 4 arms. "I am Speaker Thraz of Rantara," the being said. "Are you the humans we have heard about? The ones who defeated the Valari?" "We are," Jack confirmed. "We came to liberate your world, but it seems you're already free." Thraz made a gesture that might have been a smile. "When the Valari suddenly abandoned their bases, we thought it was a trick. Then we received transmissions from other worlds, speaking of humans who fought back against the conquerors and won. We have been waiting for you." "We are not conquerors," Jack assured him. We come to invite Rantara to join a new alliance, the Galactic Peace Council. An alliance of equals, Emma added, for mutual protection and cooperation. Thraz bowed deeply. Rantara would be honored. Please come down to our world as friends. 2 days later, Jack stood with Emma on a hillside overlooking the capital city of Rantara. The Unity and its fleet hung in the sky above, no longer weapons of war but symbols of a new beginning. The Rantarans had welcomed them with celebration, already making preparations to join the council. Their representatives would travel back with the fleet to attend the first official council meeting. It's really over, Jack said quietly. The war, the liberation, all of it. Emma took his hand. Not over. Just changing into something new. In the valley below, humans mingled with Rantarans and representatives from other worlds. Children from different species played together, unconcerned with the differences between them. I think I'll take you up on that offer, Jack said. Exploration sounds good. I've had enough of war to last a lifetime. Several lifetimes, Emma agreed with a smile. As the twin suns of Rantara began to set, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold, Jack thought about the journey that had brought them here. From the ashes of a devastated Earth to the birth of a new galactic community. They hit Earth first, he said softly. Emma squeezed his hand. And we made sure no one would fight a war again. Around them, the sounds of celebration rose into the alien sky, songs of freedom, of friendship, and of peace. A peace built not on conquest or fear, but on cooperation and respect. In the darkest moment of human history, humanity had found its greatest strength. And in doing so, they had changed the destiny of not just their own world, but of an entire galaxy.